right, so throughout the United States, Africa, and the Caribbean, the ideas of race and social injustice have always been and continue to be a topic of discussion. And well, now the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute's newest exhibition, Race, Myth, Art, and Justice, explores all these topics through the camera lens of 12 photographers. And joining us to tell us more about the exhibition, we welcome Race, Myth, Art, and Justice Co-curator, Dawson. Hello.
Thank you, Rhina. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for creating or curating such a relevant topic. And let's begin with the topic itself and how that title even came about.
Well, the topic was actually created by Marta Vega, the ex-director of the Caribbean Cultural Center. And through discussion, we came up with the title themes, with the topic themes. But it's something that the center's been doing for 35 years, or more, actually, addressing the condition of the African diaspora on this planet, and that just plays right into that.
Right, well, that's the Caribbean Cultural Center's mission, right? And so this particular exhibition being done through photography and depicting, I'm sorry, my throat, really diving into certain topics that are obviously socially relevant and unfortunately seem to keep repeating themselves.
Right.
So in curating and seeking these photographers, how is it that you are telling the story through imagery?
Well, it's funny because both myself and Grace Ali, who's the other curator, we actually have a whole series of friends who are curators, but who are photographers, but who've been working with the theme all their lives too. Because it's not hard to address the theme. In fact, you have to avoid the themes if you're an artist because it's so present in our lives that we have to do that. So when we looked at the artists, all the artists actually have work that addresses that on multiple levels too. Some directly, some in a really subtle way too. So, but it's the themes are, if you're conscious as an artist, the themes are there in your work.
Right, and so here's the thing though. Within, like, let's say our culture, people of color culture, this always seems to be the topic. So if somebody's going in there, will they be depressed or will they be enlightened?
Well, they'll be both. Well, actually, they won't be depressed because depression comes if you think there's no solution. But they will be enlightened. And they will also see the kind of various ways that artists can address the same theme. Because some do it directly, literally. Some will do it in a much more abstract manner. Some will do it in ways that you don't even notice that they're addressing the themes. But because they could become much more abstract in terms of how they approach the theme. But the theme is still there nonetheless, So it's another way also of looking at the multiple levels that we exist on.
Right.
What do we do during our daily lives? We aren't depressed all day long. We're still in the same kind of oppressive social conditions, but we have different moments of enlightenment, moments of joy, moments of understanding. So this is a moment of understanding, but use kind of variety of artistic means for understanding.
And the reason I even mention that is because we happen to be going through some really challenging times right now. I mean, we have been for quite some time, but they're just really extreme right now. And just the imagery that's being put out there through the media, through the news, and just through newspapers, it's really disheartening.
Well, I don't know, because what I think it is in fact, it's kind of heartening in the sense that you don't have any illusions. You aren't given the kind of luxury of an illusion. They're telling you exactly what they're doing and how they're going to do it. So, you don't have to act as though, you're mistaken, maybe you misinterpreted. No, you didn't. You got it right. This is their intention. But it's always been that intention for the most part. It makes us mobilize another way. It makes us become much clearer another way. So I think it's an interesting time, too. It's a harsh time, but it's a time that calls for another kind of strength.
Got it, and that's where these exhibitions come into play. So how many photographers are
12 photographers.
12. So how many images will people experience?
Well, it depends because there's a variety of images. They all don't have a lot of pieces. They all don't have single pieces either. So it depends on the artist. Some have 4 pieces, some have 3 pieces, some have 1. But it depends on how their ideas are best expressed too.
Okay, and so in Race, Myth, Art, and Justice, how are those images displayed? Like what type of messaging is it? Are we tapping into spirituality? Are we tapping into like just color? Are we tapping into scenarios within?
Well, Actually, we're tapping into all kinds of, we're tapping into race, myth, art, and justice.
Right, and
All
that
and no, they all.
the reason I'm not, yeah, but I'm saying, you know, what are the sub levels of what that message is?
Right. Well, they all run concurrent too, and some have, like for the cover that you're looking at on the booklet. The cover is by Radcliffe Roy, a Jamaican photographer, and that's literal, and that's, you know, the hoodie and the hands up in the cotton field. That's a historical reference, and also a historical reference for pastimes of the kind of cotton as the industry that built this country, but also as the kind of the hoodie and the hands up symbol as contemporary life. So this is covering the myth and the history and the race, but it's also covering class and covering justice too. But that's one level. But there's other levels where the work is incredibly abstract, and you have to look at it closely to understand what's going on. There's some pieces like Ming Smith, who's valorizing a woman who worked as a waitress in one of the old restaurants in Harlem. No, but that is a subtle way of understanding justice, of understanding the validity of the so-called common person in the United States. So there are multiple levels in which the artists apprehend those ideas too. So if you're thinking you're going to be like propagandized or browbeaten, no, you're going to look at art that reveals our condition and also is uplifting too.
Beautiful. And so this is open to the public?
Open to the public, and it's actually up, it's opened already, and it's up until June 15th at the Caribbean Culture Center, and it's also free. There's you don't have to pay to get in, but we have also kind of multiple visions of the world looking at. Most of the artists have a background outside of the United States too. Although they might be living in the United States, many of them are from the Caribbean too, so there's a real mix of people in the show.
In the show. So are the gallery hours, what are the gallery hours?
Gallery hours are 9 until 6 o'clock.
9 until 6 o'clock. So you don't need to make an appointment?
No appointment, but we're not open on the weekends normally too. And also but we're going to have a whole series of events around the exhibit too. And one is called Giving Voice to Vision. That's where the artists will come in and talk about their work. And they're free and open to the public again. The first one is going to be on Thursday, December 13th, and it's going to be from 6 until 8. It's going to feature Radcliffe Roy from Jamaica and Adama Delphine Fawundu, who is an artist from Brooklyn. She was born in Brooklyn, but her mother's from Sierra Leone and her father's from Equatorial Guinea. So you're looking at Brooklyn, Jamaica, and Brooklyn, Africa.
Got it.
But they're both going to talk about their work that they have in the show too.
I love it. I love it. And there's the diaspora. There's the African diaspora.
Well,
thank you so
thank
much,
you,
Danny, for coming here.
But before I
and you
leave,
guys. For Race, Myth, Art, and Justice, it's actually currently on display. You can check that out at the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute, which is located at 120 East 125th Street, and that's happening until June 15th, excuse me. And if you're interested in obtaining more information regarding the topics we just discussed and the events that they have coming up, be sure to visit cccadi.org. Once again, that's cccadi.org. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out about an upcoming performance featuring Flaco Navaja.
Thank you, Rhina.